So my name is Enhle. I am based in South Africa, Johannesburg. I myself have not been diagnosed with COPD. However, my younger sister Samgelo was diagnosed with COPD and she became dependent from the year February 2023. My frustration in terms of getting accurate and timely diagnosis came from the fact that she was first diagnosed with tuberculosis and was being treated for tuberculosis and remained in hospital throughout that period, which was over 6 months. And based on that, they could see that the response to the medication was not as effective as expected. Hence, she was taken back into hospital and was re-diagnosed. We still cannot name the doctor who even diagnosed her as COPD dependent, and therefore this was a public hospital, so they could have changed shifts. We could not have access directly to the doctors. I could only go through to visit the hospital and see her and check on her progress through the nurses that were around. And when she finally got diagnosed, it also didn't come to mind as to what it means, or I didn't also have explanation of what the condition means and what it would mean for me, who is her only surviving relative. I'm her elder sister, and the changes that it would bring into our lives. So receiving that diagnosis and being told she would be dependent on an electric oxygen machine concentrator and also a backup oxygen tank for the rest of her life was quite traumatic and life-changing, but we took the challenge on. So the challenges we experienced in getting the treatment were quite minimal, in the sense that the first instance we were asked to just let her remain in hospital until the device had been delivered to our home. So which meant she would not be discharged from hospital until she got her electronic machine as well as the backup tank for oxygen. Then we took her home. 2, nobody even knew what the disease name was called. This was the first one in our family, so nobody understood if it was just a cough or if she needed to remain on TB treatment and as well as be on oxygen. If the two work together, there was no specialist allocated, and we could only go by research and symptoms that she was experiencing on a daily basis to think of what we can give to her to support her at that point in time. So if today her chest felt tight, we would beat the chest like this, and we would see that if she's not getting alleviated, we would give her medicine and hot water and so forth. There was just nobody to call or to refer to ask about the condition. The only time we could actually get any information about the condition was whenever the company that was supplying the oxygen tank came through to actually check and maintain the machine that she was using at that point. They would then come through and say to us, okay, how is she doing? The machine is still working. What else can we do? And they would just offer us advice, and those were delivery guys, and they would just say she needs to make sure she takes walks, she exercises, she mustn't just be too dependent on the machine. But we had no other idea, just to make her comfortable at all times. The stigma is the ultimate, because of this experience. I'm a Christian. which means every Sunday we are in church. Myself, my sister, her children, and my children. So the 6 of us load up in the car and we go to church. But guess what? Having to go into church looking for a seat where there's a plug nearby, and so that she can go and sit there, having small children staring at her, and everybody else in church saying, "Are you gonna be fine?" And the worst part was mostly watching her breathe and seeing how her neck was pumping. I think that is what broke everybody the most around her. Everybody wanted to support her, but everybody felt pain for her, seeing how her neck, the muscles, her chest was breathing just to gain the air. Seeing her panic from time to time when she was surrounded by a lot of people, thinking how she gonna breathe, getting to restaurants and her being worried of smoke. And when she has to take out the device, people were quite receptive, and they could feel and see that whole thing to say, okay, this is the way we can assist her, this is her condition. They tried not to laugh or to look too concerned. Everybody was quite supportive. Mind you, in our whole community, in church, in our family, in everywhere that we normally go to, this was our first ever case of COPD, so which made it tough because everybody just thought there might be some other conditions that she's suffering from that are making her worse, or she could just dump the machine if she wanted to and just continue living because it's not like her lungs were not operating. But what we came to learn is that it was really a need for her to have the supply of oxygen so that she can breathe again. And yeah, it was not an easy journey, but I'm quite thankful that although people had no knowledge like us, but they tried to make means, they tried to make sure that she was made comfortable in the public transport, in the restaurants, at the malls, at the church. So that helped. My name is Enhle Anegbe Enahoro Niamposula. Speaking of the condition COPD, to learn more, visit gap.org.